Hello again, Kendopolis! We're here with another Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor commentary. I am Dr. Kendo, and we basically just create whatever is most popular, most requested each week in the comments from you guys. So I just kind of look at that and select whatever is getting the most requests on any given week. And so this week actually was kind of crazy. We had a lot of different votes and things like that, but it looks like the Moon Lord from Terraria is what was the most popular and most requested, so that's what we're creating. We started off with a bodybuilder as the source object. Of course, if I didn't mention it, I don't think I did, Scribblenauts Unlimited's object editor feature is only available on the Wii U and PC versions of this game, so if you are playing on mobile or something, that won't work. We went into the color pattern library. If you see that paintbrush down at the bottom middle of the screen, we took that and grabbed the newspaper color pattern. That's for the little bottoms that the bodybuilder is wearing right there. It's going to be kind of like the back, I guess, ribbed opening for the Moon Lord. And Archaeopteryx is what we've taken right now. There's kind of a shin piece, you know, below the, or I should say above the foot of the Archaeopteryx right there. And so we'll take that to be the start of the arms. It's kind of the forearm of the Moon Lord here. You'll notice that, of course, the bodybuilder, we did remove everything except for the arms, so the arms did stay on, and we're just kind of building in addition to those arms. So then we've got a hand coming up next, and these hands on both sides, of course, are for the Moon Lord's hands. Go figure, you know, you don't always do like a hand for a hand, or a mouth for a mouth, nose for a nose, but sometimes you can, and in this case, stamp space is definitely going to be an issue. This game does have a stamp limit, meaning, you know, you could put down this goldfish fin, for instance. That's going to be for the eyes, actually, that are within the hands of the Moon Lord. But that's one stamp. And so you do have a limited number, and this means that once you run out, you can't add any more. We got a truck right now. This will actually help us get the eye shape that we need. It's going to be the eye with the pupil within it, and that's kind of two things for the price of one. You know, we get to use one stamp and convey two different parts of the design. So that's good. We got amber coming up next, and give it that kind of weathered, sloshy pattern on it if you want, or you can kind of, even if you felt like it, you could do this stitching, you know, because it does kind of have a stitch down the middle, but unfortunately, if you do that stitching pattern, it won't be straight down the middle. You know, the stitches will be in the corners and stuff like that. And so then we got a pom-pom coming up next, and the pom-pom goes behind that amber. And so now we'll go with spine. The spine is really not the most, I would say, accurate representation in one stamp. Or let's say in one stamp, it's a good representation, but it's not if you know, you could use multiple stamps, I guess, to get that, what we're doing right there, and that is kind of like the spine or the big, long series of bones and stuff for the Moon Lord. It's just that the spine in Scribblenauts does have a lot more little pieces of vertebrae and stuff, so we got Moon. It's kind of funny because this is the Moon Lord, but we've got Moon to be the different rib cage pieces, those bones, and pelvis was down at the bottom for the actual pelvis. This is a rare instance, I would say, in a Dr. Kendo commentary where usually I do like to try and create objects with unconventional stamps. You know, I think outside the box. I don't just do a pelvis for a pelvis or an eye for an eye, nose for a nose, and all that. But this time we did it a little bit more than I normally would. And so, we're in the properties editor right now, and of course this is just where you edit health and all these other kind of things, and so I like to read background information and fun facts about whatever we create when we're at this part. And so of course the Moon Lord is Terraria's final boss, the game Terraria, and it appears once the Celestial Tower is defeated, or it can be summoned manually. It has two hands and a head that must be killed before its core becomes available for each attack. Each hand and its head have an eye-like target that close off and open back on, being the Moon Lord's target weak points to hit. It has several attacks, and that makes it generally tougher to represent in Scribblenauts Unlimited here, but I think that for today's creation, we can go ahead and script the weapon projectile to be a circle. This will do kind of for mimicking the general shape of many of the attacks, but if you did want them to be more like phantasmal spheres, you could also have them explode. Just basically, you would simply change the script to do shoot explode. option rather than just shoot. And so that's when you're scripting the weapon, of course, but we'll also run a script under the scripting tool that it shoots a teal-colored eye after it loses or gains health, and waits a few frames right there, so you can see that on screen. It says when this object loses or gains health, it will add an adjective, it's going to become fearless. That makes it so that it doesn't run away from fights or anything like that. And then it just waits a few frames, and it'll shoot out that eye. And so here we can actually make it, you know, different things that the characters in Scribblenauts will react to it as. And so we're going to go ahead and, I guess, make this react to, everybody's going to react to him as a god. And the source audio, you can decide what you think is best. Scribblenauts, it kind of has a limited amount of audio as well for how unlimited the name is. You know, it's the audio is a little bit limited, I would say. So we've got a head as the source object coming up next. We'll go with that Archaeopteryx once again. You saw how to spell it before, but if not, it was just right there on screen once more. And so these are going to be the start of all of these facial tentacles or tendrils and stuff coming off of its face. It's got a lot of them, and I just can only hope that we can get them all. I mentioned the stamp space before. Well, that's also going to be an issue here on the head, but going along with that, the stamp space can kind of be worked around a little bit and provide us, we can basically provide more stamps for our creation by creating the head and the body separately. So you notice here that the body, you know, before didn't have the head on it, and now we're going with the head. I'll show you how to script that so that it all works out for you once you've got the head finished. We went with hairy fish, and you can take the fin from the hairy fish, and that's going to be the start of 2 of the eyes right here. But he's got like 6 eyes, right? 5 eyes, I should say. And so the amber we'll put down right here. And we're going to do that twice, of course. But then another amber that's even smaller, we can put vertically up and down and put that kind of where the forehead is right there. And so, again, with stamp space being the limiting factor here, I'm trying to think of a stamp that could get kind of that mouth shape. It's like, it looks like there's a bunch of little teeth and things, and if we had enough stamp space, we would, of course, just go in there individually with fangs or cuttlefish pieces, probably, and make the intertwining teeth. But I just went with mutton because it has all of these various lines and zigzaggy type patterns in it, and I thought it could be a good stamp for that. And again, this is thinking outside of the box more creatively a little bit more in that respect, I guess. And so we went with horn twice. Of course, that's the animal horn. And the horns are just for little horns there on the side of the Moon Lord's head. And a nautilus we actually used in the back. So we took the little tentacle pieces of the nautilus, the tendrils for its mouth, and we put that behind. And so if you increase it kind of to a big enough size, we're actually using it again right here for some more tentacles, but it's kind of one stamp, again, that can convey several things, not just one thing. And so for the cranium up there, you know, that brain that he's got peeking out in the top of the head, we went with shrimp paste twice. You might think, oh, I should use a brain for the brain. You could do that, but the brain in Scribblenauts Unlimited is a little bit more flat on the top of the head, and it seems kind of awkward and undetailed for me. And so I went with kraken, not the very far end tentacle pieces, but kind of next to that. There's those little curved hook-shaped tentacle pieces. But here you can see under the properties editor on the equipment tab, you want to check off this circle for any head objects that you create separately. Can be worn on the face like glasses is what that says. We filled in that circle that matches with that, and this will generally put the head where you want it to be once you do, I guess, give the head object to your body object. And so this truck wheel is going to be the last stamp that we can use right here. Unfortunately, we did run out of space again. It's kind of just, I would love to, I guess, make it more detailed and everything if we did have more stamp space, but I still think that that's kind of a best all-around representation fitting within the confines of this game. So you saw that when we did put the head onto the body, it was mostly where we wanted it to be. It's just, I felt that the whole character as a whole is basically too small, so we are going to increase the size a little bit, and I might move the head up just a tiny smidgen. And so if you want to do that, you just basically turn on the green grids when you're in the object editor. It's a button on your left side panel of buttons and objects that has like a dotted line around it with Maxwell's head and a wheel and all this stuff in it. And so that'll kind of show you a big empty green space where the head is supposed to go, and you can actually click that and move it up or down or whatever. And so our Moon Lord, as godly as it is running away from this man. Now, I will tell you, this is what I wanted to warn people, is you can see that its attack animation Because that we started off with the bodybuilder, you would have to actually sacrifice one stamp if you wanted to do this differently, but the bodybuilder, as well as most default humans and humanoids in Scribblenauts, have just the one arm. It's not like 2 or 3 pieces to make up the arm. By the way, this is a updated Nightmare Chica design. Of course, that's FNAF 4, and so Nightmare Chica right now is going to go up against our Moonlord, but we're also going to use this Nightmare Chica for something in the future. You saw me remake a Bonnie a while back, and so Nightmare Chica is also going to be in that project. But going back to that original point, you can see that he's shooting things with his arm kind of backwards like that, like it's coming out of his elbow rather than the arm. You could possibly avoid this a little bit more if you went with like a golem or something that has 2 different pieces to make one arm, a mecha golem. But the problem is that you would then be out of stamp space. You would be -1 stamp, basically. Chica's head is on the ground being like, you suck. But what I'm saying is basically just, let's say you went with the golem and then you tried to mimic my design here, you would have to then take the bodybuilder's torso, and that would take 1 stamp away from you being able to, I guess, do it by this design. So again, if you were following this design specifically, you wouldn't be able to get all of the stamps I just used because there would be 1 taken up from doing the bodybuilder's torso. Now, you, of course, have noticed it's very obvious, but I'm on screen for once. I don't typically do this, but sometimes during like a busy week or something, or just to show you guys, I guess, something different, something new and exciting, hopefully, I'll do a face cam every now and then. So I definitely have done it before, so if anybody's like, you should do a face cam reveal thing, I've done it plenty of times. Plus, I live stream every Monday over on twitch.tv/DRKENDO, so you can check out some live streams over there where I'm always pretty much on camera, and so if it matters that much, those are places to see it. But I hope that you guys did enjoy the Moonlord here. It's a pretty simple creation overall. Just I think what was the main challenge is trying to get within that stamp space, and that's normally what our challenge is, right? You know, normally we are trying to fight against this stamp limitation part of the game, but yeah, otherwise, just go ahead and leave your comments, of course, and we'll pick a most popular, most requested object for next week. And I will catch you guys then on the next video, and thanks for viewing. Like a spectacle, so you can be the viewer, and down the road